Good morning. Hey, you guys. How are you all doing? I'm going to put my hat on today. I got my hair up so I kind of look like a boy. Isn't that so cute? Nobody cares about my hair, right? I'm just getting all settled in. I feel very kind of pressured to get started. There's just a lot to talk about. And I want to say thank you for being here. I really, really appreciate you guys. You're the wind beneath my wings. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Good morning, Butterfly and George's mama. So let's see. Everything I say is my opinion only, and I'm allowed to have an opinion. I'm pretty sure last time I checked. However, we do live in a free country where people like to be controlling. So this is purely for the sake of conversation, opening up a discussion specifically about domestic violence. Okay. People don't like to talk about it. It needs to be talked about. It's just everywhere. And it's what we're talking about here is really for the sake of education and entertainment. So it's not fact. It's a lot of speculation. We need to talk about it. Yes. So let's see. Everything good with the lighting and all that jazz? Should I yell at Alexa? Okay, I'm going to start out with reading to you guys an article. Have you heard about this? Lead cop on Gabby Petito 911 call, accused of domestic violence himself. This is published on November 2nd, 2022, 8:33 p.m. And let me timestamp for us here. It's 8:18 a.m. on Friday, November 4th, 2022. So happy Friday. Exclusive. This is by Michael Ruiz with Fox News. I don't usually go to Fox News, but that's okay. Exclusive. A Utah woman claims she received death threats from a former police chief who resigned from his job and later played a prominent role as a patrol officer in the 2021 traffic stop of Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie. He has no business being a effing cop, the woman who has asked not to have her name published out of concerns for her safety told Fox News Digital. She was talking about Eric Pratt, one of two Moab police officers who interacted with Petito and Laundrie in the entranceway to Arches National Park just 2 weeks before her striking death in Wyoming. She is accusing him of telling her he'd smash her with a crowbar after she threatened to go public with sultry details of their 2017 affair. If the officer responding to Gabby's situation is an abuser himself who would threaten a girlfriend's life, it makes sense why he believed Gabby's abuser and ignored her injuries, Nicole Schmidt, Petito's mother, told Fox News Wednesday. With him in charge, I don't think Gabby stood a chance. The handling of the Petito Laundrie call, first reported by Fox News Digital, resulted in no arrests or citations, despite a Utah law requiring such actions following domestic violence incidents. Prompted an independent investigation that faulted the officers for unintentional mistakes. Okay? It's their job to know the law and to know how to apply the law. That's really basic and simple. And domestic violence calls are the most dangerous calls out there for law enforcement and the people, for everybody. They're the most dangerous calls. Okay. I'm sorry to laugh. You know how I am. Laugh or cry. It's the same thing. They faulted the officers for unintentional mistakes after they deemed Petito, not Laundrie, to be the aggressor. The Utah woman said she contacted attorneys for Petito's parents after learning Pratt had been promoted to detective and made a school resource officer in Moab. Oh, that's nice. So he's going to be around kids. Perfect. He had resigned from his role as Salina police chief in 2017, according to a letter he wrote at the time. She says the move came after she confronted the mayor about his alleged mistreatment of her. In 2017, the woman said she was going through a divorce and Pratt was still married to the ex-wife he mentions on bodycam. Oh, what a quinky dink. During a conversation with Laundry. Yeah, chicks can be crazy, huh? Chicks are crazy. Yeah, they're crazy. I think he said that. I think he literally said chicks are crazy, didn't he? I know I'm not making that up. One of them said it. Chicks are crazy. Okay, here we go. Utah, Gabby Petito cop had romantic rival arrested in 2019 domestic incident that was later dismissed. Gabby Petito cop had a romantic rival arrested in 2019 another domestic incident that was later dismissed. The two had known each other for years and began a sexual relationship that morphed into an emotional friendship. And who knows, maybe they also knew each other from a call that she made to 911, but they don't want to say that that's how they reconnected. It's a small town. They've known each other for a long time. Okay. At one point, she said her conscience caught up with her and she disclosed her affair and other alleged trysts to Pratt's then wife. They had a contentious falling out, she said, and she told the mayor to get him to leave her alone or she'd go public with the affair and intimate details. I had already gone to the mayor and he was preparing to resign, she said. It had been about 2 weeks since they'd last spoke and she was shopping at Walmart with her daughter when she ran into him. I'll stop in a minute. I'm not going to read the whole thing. He followed her out of the parking lot to a gas station in Richfield, she said, flashing the lights of his personal vehicle behind her. He went to back seat and started talking to my daughter, telling her how adults don't always see eye to eye, but in the end, hopefully everybody can be friends. Then he went in, bought the girl some candy. He came around to my window and told me that if anything ever got out, he'd kill me with a crowbar, the woman alleged. Wow, twisted. So twisted. About a year later, she claimed he asked her to meet him at a Denny's restaurant. She did. They had a long talk, and she left with peace of mind. I didn't have to be looking over my shoulder anymore, anything like that, she said. But she said he allegedly made another alarming statement during the conversation. Had this been the day prior, there would have been a grave dug and you would have been in it. I asked him what changed his mind about not wanting to kill me anymore. And he said he had decided that it wasn't me that had ruined his life. It was one of the other girls that he had an affair with, she claimed. The Utah Department of Public Safety told Fox News Digital it had no record of any ethical, criminal, or other complaint filed against him during his time as chief in Salina. He's named in the wrongful death lawsuit that Petito's parents have announced against the city of Moab and its police department. Also named are former Moab Police Chief Brett Edge, former Assistant Chief Brandon Palmer, and Officer Daniel Robbins, who initiated the stop. Okay, so I'm not reading the rest of it, but they did leave out that female park ranger officer, whose name I'll look up. I have it, and I'll put it in the comment section below. It's weird because watching Grizzly yesterday and watching the presser for Gabby, and there was also randomly static. Oh, Grizzly is so awesome. I often skip so many awesome creators. I want to give a shout out to Squirrels on Fire and Squirrel Girl. Grizzly True Crime. Some of these, it's like they're just institutions of true crime, like Grizzly or Zav or Paula Plunder or True Crime Rocket Science. So I just don't even think about mentioning them, but they are worth mentioning. These are, seasoned professionals who've been doing this for a long time, and they're doing a great service, I believe, for democracy, really. And a lot of these people are not even in America, but they're just, caught up in our crap. So for that, we can thank them, right? Good morning, Justice. Keep up the awesome coverage. Never give up, never give in. Did you hear the theory that maybe Kylie never came back from Mexico? KT Van, I have heard that theory. And we haven't talked a lot about the Mexico trip. I don't even know for fact that she went to Mexico. I mentioned this the other day. We've all probably heard the rumor that Mags and her mother took Kylie to Mexico the week before her disappearance. And I found a photos that look like they could be from that Mexico trip, but I don't know for sure. And yeah, it's very fascinating, isn't it? So I do really want to pay attention to the time, try to keep my videos shorter because I said that, and yesterday I had 2 1-hour plus videos. And I don't mind doing it. It's just that I know that there's a lot of people out there that like to watch the whole videos in their entirety and don't have an hour, right? I mean, yikes. And then I would like to rewatch them my own to look for mistakes. And I'm like, man, I got 2 hours of my own to catch up on and a bunch of other stuff to do. So, it's a really great question. Thank you, KT Van. Oh, here. Do we have a mod in the house? And can the mods actually pin things or not? I have seen mods pin things, and then I've had other mods say that they can't pin things. So pinning message. I don't want to be pinning the messages because it'll bog me down, and then we'll have another 1 hour here. You have mic issues breaking up. Do I? Huh. Thank you for letting me know. And are other people hearing that, or is it maybe on the other end? I don't know what to do. I'm gonna just keep going. And thank you for letting me know, Cindy Thompson. If anybody else is noticing that, okay, it's gone now. Great, excellent, woohoo! So that brings up a point about technology. I have an awesome new, super expensive laptop that I got at a really hot deal because it was the floor model. But there's been a lot of content creators who've had issues with their systems failing. Hackers, trolls. These are things that we are all very aware of and we all need to look out for, right? So I want to get right into Kylie's case because we are here for Kiely, and there's a lot of similarities with Kylie's case and Gabby Petito's case. There's a lot of similarities with Kylie's case and many, many other cases. And we want to stay focused. We don't want to get distracted. I thought that was absolutely riveting news about that officer, the one that was lead. It's the one with the beard, who seemed like such a great guy, right? I mean, he just seems so nice. And he's talking about his own self because, it helps build the rapport if they feel like they can trust you and connect with you. Oh, you know what? I said that quote, chicks are crazy. That's actually from Chris Watts's interrogation. Tammy said that to Chris Watts right as she was getting him to crack. That was part of what helped him crack when she said, yeah, chicks are crazy. So I just want to separate that out. I was crossing my wires. And I don't think anybody said that I know of in the Gabby Petito August 12th, 2021 traffic stop or domestic violence call that was also turned into a traffic stop at the Delicate Arches in Moab. And, this guy Brian Laundrie was driving 45 in 15 zone. He was driving up on the curb. And then there was the whole domestic violence call. And the cops just, got him a nice hotel room. I'm just going to let my eyes talk today. I mean, my cousins. I'm going to let my cousins talk today. Okay. I thought about the presser mic issue from yesterday, also talking about Gabby, and the bit of your mic acting up this morning seemed a little spooky, ironic, a little static, come and going morning. Okay, interesting. I do think that I've been put on the map. Oh my God. Hold on. What? Quick. Yeah. Nothing. Yeah. Oh my God. Okay. Sorry to yell. Okay, bye. Okay. Oh my God. Okay, that was my mod. So she's not able to see me at all. And I know her very well, so I can be rude. She's not going to take it personally. But I'm like thinking she's watching me, like, why the F are you calling me in the middle of my live? And you're my mod. So it must be super important. I was thinking maybe it was about the static or something. But anyway, she said she couldn't see it at all. Interesting. Very, very interesting. So, Butterfly McCoy, their wives have massive anxiety too. So is it happening or is it not happening, the static? Because I can stop and restart, try to make a couple adjustments. I promise I'll get right back on. Okay, there's my mod at last. Thank you, mod. Sorry to be so snippy with you. I thought that this must be like a huge emergency and that you were watching and that you knew everything that was going on. So PJ Barker says no static here. People were just commenting about some static, and then the mod wasn't able to get me at all. So, I don't want to toot my own horn at all. I'm still a super small channel and I will always just be me. But the channel's been growing rapidly and I have seen a lot of trolls coming into my chats and comments, and I completely delete them and block them forever and ever. So if you're a troll, be warned. Nobody's got time for that crap. Wanted to tell you, okay, I'll finish that thought in just a second. I want to pin this. Nobody's got time for trolls. And, if they're coming into my system trying to hack me, that's very unfortunate, but I'll just have to figure that out. And like I said, that's flattering if they're going to give me the time of day, but it's also a huge pain in the butt. So let's get on with the show. Claudia Palacis, good morning. Wanted to tell you I watched 2022 graduations for Truckee High School and the other one called Forest High School, and no Ms. Kiely, no Mags, no Sam. Okay, so I have seen, thank you for your comment, Claudia. I have seen the Truckee High School graduation that I believe was 2022, and Mags's boyfriend and Sammy are both graduating. They're both named. I have not seen the Forest High School graduation videotape anywhere from 2022. They have others up. They have like 2020, 2021. And I figured maybe they didn't want to put it up because of all this stuff with Kiely, or maybe they just hadn't gotten it up yet. I don't know. I believe that CNY has been covering this exact issue. So thank you for that. Okay. Hey, Kevin, good morning. No static. All right. I love the trolls. They taste like chicken. Oh, you are so funny. Such a hoot. Okay. Let's see. Brenda says, where did that go? Oh, sorry. Sorry, Brenda, if you didn't want that up. It says message retracted. So we'll just leave that one not there. So yeah, if you're making comments and I pin it and you want to retract it, that's so absolutely okay. And I'm sorry if you didn't want it pinned and I had no idea. Okay, so, and let's see, Jack D, I'm going to pin yours. Replaced pinned message. And if the mod is able to pin stuff, that's great. If there were no tire tracks leading onto the water, then it was murder. Someone swept the beach. Good point, Jack D. And just yesterday I had mentioned potential tire tracks again. Let's see. The rectangle, and maybe Kevin Neese can speak to this, being a retired cop. The rectangle that was roped off right by the shoreline when they were pulling her vehicle, Ms. Kiely Rodni's vehicle, out of the water. And they had that little section. It looked like it was maybe like 12 feet by 6 or 8 feet. And it was like a parallelogram. It wasn't a real rectangle. It was slanted. And at first, I guessed that maybe it was a blood trail because there were a lot of notes about blood trails in the search and rescue uh, information. I thought maybe it was from a bonfire because there's been reports that the kids did have a bonfire down there. And then I've also thought maybe it was glass because one of the windows, the passenger side front window, was broken before the car entered the water. And what was the other thing? Then maybe tire tracks, but it would not be tire tracks if that car was there on that shoreline 2 weeks prior, and it's been raining and it's been busy and there's just been lots of people coming and going and doing their recreations and stuff. But if it had been 3 days earlier, maybe it could have been tire tracks. So I don't know what it was. I do not know what it was. Let's see. Dilly Owens says AWP found what they thought were tracks when they got there where her car was found. I have not caught onto that, Dilly Owens. Wow, that's huge. And, I missed that part. That is really huge. Reels of Justice or Real Justice. Let's see. I'm gonna get Gregory Worth's up here. A justice, that marked off area was mentioned in Real Justice video where Sammy turned into the water. Remember, he said where the car went in was not Kiely's point, as he referred that to. And, Real Justice, I have a tremendous amount of respect for. I really appreciate the work that I think it's that he does. And his too is all speculation and theory. That's really all we have. And that is what happens when there's a cover up, and sometimes the speculation is going to be a lot worse than what actually happened. So, there's a lot of reasons why police share information with the public, the main one being public safety. If there's an issue here of people partying and ending up dead in the water, a lot of people party out there. So we need to get that information out there so people know that there's an issue. If it's an issue of foul play, we need to know because we have dangerous people running around loose. So it's one or the other, combination of both, right? Kevin Neese, I'm going to pin you, guy. Thank you for coming and joining in our discussion here. So Kevin says the only reason I can think that they had the sectioned off was because there was some evidence they wanted to preserve and photograph, as rare as that might be in this case. Good point. Spot on. Yeah. So, I don't like to talk about sexual assault with anybody, about anybody. I don't like to talk about it when it's real. I don't like to talk about it when it's speculation. I don't like to talk about it. As you guys know that are regulars, there's nothing more disgusting to me. I think that it should be capital punishment for anybody who does something like that. And it's not an act of passion. It is an act of violence. And it is so disgusting when people have those wires crossed in their heads. And that's the problem. The problem is the person who does it, right? So I just want to address it head on. And I also want to keep it down to a dull roar. Okay. I made a comment yesterday that I'm sure some of you picked on about the autopsy stating that there was no sign of that in the area where her IUD was. And I kind of mumbled something about where there's other parts of the body that these things take place. So remember Jessica Lynch. Jessica Lynch is a war hero. She was a prisoner of war in the Iraqi war when she was 19 years old. She was brutally, multiply assaulted in that way. Her injuries almost were fatal. She recovered and she went on to speak about it openly on a lot of talk shows, very, very openly, plain and dry. Just, that's war. When you sign up for the military and you're a tiny little blonde teenager like I am, you know that this can happen. That is what happens in war. It's beyond an act. It's a message, okay? It's a message. So I just want to put that out there. And thank goodness Jessica Lynch survived. Thank goodness she's fierce and strong as nails. It's, to me, just the most ungodly thing you can imagine. In fact, I think she said she doesn't remember any of it. So that helps, but maybe some of it has come back to her because, often when something traumatic happens, people block it out and they may never remember and they may sometime have memory of it. Anyway, Jessica Lynch is an absolute war hero. She was assaulted in that way March 23rd, 2003. She was from West Virginia. I'm sure a lot of you guys remember her. So she's still a war hero. She will always be a war hero. She was, it's about the degrading. It's about the humiliation. I don't want to go into it because it is so disgusting. And I hope nothing like that happened to beautiful dear Ms. Kiely. I really, really hope that me suggesting it is me being completely in left field. Okay. But it's like, don't overlook the obvious. Don't overlook the obvious, because why would they do such a massive cover up of a flippin' car accident? They wouldn't. They straight up would not. Kevin, can you bolster me here? I'm just kidding. People do tend to suppress traumatic incidents in their lives, right? It's a survival instinct. A lot of people have out of body experiences, like they are gone. They're just gone. Anyway, there was another case that probably nobody has heard of because it was kept under wraps. This was when I was living in Washington State. And the date was September 23rd, 2008. And it happened in the Olympic National Park area out in Squim. It was a park ranger named Christine Fairbanks, 51 years old, a very decorated park ranger. She'd been career her whole life. She had family. She was married with 2 kids, well loved. I think she was like a year or 2 from retiring. Anyway, a rat bastard named Sean Rowe ended her life. And that doesn't happen very often in the line of duty, and especially with park rangers. So she was the 6th park ranger to die in the line of duty. Only 6 at that point in time in 90 years, from 1918 until 1908. 6, and the only female. Nobody ever spoke about any assault. All they said was that there was evidence of a scuffle, a physical confrontation. This was a very attractive 51-year-old woman. She looked like she was 35. She was physically fit. She had a lot of confidence. She approached this Sean Rowe. She had her dog, her canine dog with her in the car, but she didn't bring the dog out with her when she confronted him, unfortunately. Would have ended differently, I'm sure. Nothing has ever been mentioned ever about them rolling around on the ground. Do you hear me? Nothing has ever been mentioned about that. And nothing will ever be mentioned about that because it's disgusting, because nobody wants that to happen to a decorated officer of the law, a federal employee. It's degrading for her. It's degrading for everybody in uniform. And it's humiliating. Okay. Who wants to talk about this stuff? Not me, but nobody's talking about it. And it needs to be ruled out, if nothing else. Yeah, this is definitely not a crime of passion. It's really upsetting, as you guys can see. I get really upset. I'm one of these people that thinks sexual assault is worse than murder. It's, to me, it's a spiritual murder. It's an incomplete murder. The person could be living a life in purgatory. Not everybody does. Some people recover from it and bless their hearts and souls. It's amazing the resiliency of people. So, yesterday I had a thought. Claudia, I'm going to pin you here. Jagger got out of town. The map you showed yesterday of a year ago, maybe was this his play and not Sammy, but Sammy delivered. Mags knew, so she just delivered. Claudia, that's a really good question. That's a really good speculation, in my opinion. Yeah, I kept rewatching that yesterday. That map of Prosser Creek Reserve next to his painting from 12 months ago that Larissa found and put in her video. Really, really creepy. Maybe it's a coincidence that the girl who dumped him 12 months ago ended up in that exact spot 12 months later, dead. Remember, Jagger has a thing for cars too. I have always been suspicious of Jagger. First of all, if this is a domestic violence type of incident, exes are and current partners are the ones who commit domestic violence acts against their spouses or ex-spouses or estranged spouses. I mean, they were not married, so let's just say estranged boyfriend, girlfriend. But they had a very strong connection. I mean, you can see it in photographs. You can see it in videos, even the videos where they may have already been broken up. And you can see it in Jagger's posts. And now, thanks to Larissa, come to find out that Kiely is following her Long Live Kiely account. That is the creepiest thing in the world. Obviously, the Long Live Kiely account was made after she was no longer with us. And then somebody has her account and is having her follow Long Live Kiely? What? No. This is the profile of a sick psycho. This needs to be investigated. If not by law enforcement there that doesn't want to investigate anything, then let's get some higher powers in there to investigate the lack of the investigation. What do you guys think of me bringing Lauren Cho case back? I have some interesting info. I don't know the Lauren Cho case, but yeah, anything that you think is worthwhile, I'll probably look it up. But you know how I am. I'm trying to stay super hyper focused on Kiely. Ms. Kiely. So we're already at 33 minutes. Let's look at wrapping this one up. There is also a brand new missing 19-year-old in Tennessee. Brand new, I think, in the last 48 hours. And it's so sad. You know, women are victimized by men, whether it's serial killers or domestic violence, entirely too often. I also wanted to mention a case that I'll look up and mention in the afternoon live about a teenager who was murdered out in Washington State, and the boyfriend that did it got away with it because he took her to a county where his uncle was the sheriff. So it all worked out very nicely for him. But you know what we're looking at here with this bullshit investigation or lack thereof is called dereliction of duty. And again, Kevin Neese can speak to that much better than I can. Dereliction of duty is a very serious criminal offense in the business. So Dereliction of duty is what those guys in Moab can be charged with. Dereliction of duty is what everybody, in my opinion, can be charged with. That's law enforcement that was looking for Ms. Kiely, for 2 weeks, 55 feet from where her car was. That's dereliction of duty. That's not doing your effing job. Ugh, it's pouring rain, so I keep losing my connection. Yeah. So Kevin, I was just talking about dereliction of duty and the offense that is in the industry of law enforcement. So, dereliction of duty is a very serious crime. It makes law enforcement look really, really bad. So Lauren, from Yucca Valley, California, a year or so ago. And, these cases aren't necessarily connected other than the similarities, but there's the possibility that there is a connection. Like Fuentes, I'm sorry, I'm forgetting her first name right now. Vanessa Fuentes, the one that went missing 2 days after Kiely, you guys know, would have to prove they did and that they did on purpose. Well, in my opinion, that would not be too hard, Mr. Kevin Neese. I mean, it seems very intentional that they missed that. Thank you, Jolissa Fuentes. Thank you, you guys. How are police trained to handle domestic violence? Is there a system that works, or are we trying to evolve one? Good question. Yes, they are trained. That's one of the most important trainings for them, because more cops lose their lives showing up to domestic violence calls than possibly more than how many are hit on the road. A lot of cops are hit on the road doing just a routine traffic stop. So, it's a huge danger for law enforcement as well as for the people making the call. So let me just close with this for right now, and then we'll get back on this afternoon. Well, there's so many things I want to close with, but this is kind of where I'm coming from all the time, is that our sexuality is so private, so personal, so sacred and precious. It's the spring of life. It's how we procreate, obviously. And for teenagers, especially, it is a source of absolute excitement and joy to, sexuality should be excitement and joy for everybody at any age. And to transform that into somebody's nightmare by assaulting them is just unfathomable to me. To make somebody's sexuality a nightmare, because anybody can tell you if they've been assaulted, it makes it very difficult for the rest of their lives to be able to enjoy that part of their lives. So not saying it's impossible. People are resilient. I love to say people are resilient. Someone has to go into Truckee. And even though there is no longer a body that we know of, there is plenty of everything to let us know they did squat. They did not do their jobs right. And it's documented. It's absolutely documented that they didn't do their jobs. I mean, they've got all the maps that show the search, suspected blood trail. They've got people in their boats going right over it. They've got people in their helicopters going right over it. It's a shit show. It's nothing short of a shit show. But these are the people in power who get to decide who's going to be punished or not punished, what's going to be investigated and examined, and what's not going to be investigated and examined. It's a conflict of interest. These are the people involved. I mean, Look from ground zero. Go back to the affidavit from May 15th, 2022. We have an admitted sex offender. Their current sheriff admits that he had this completely inappropriate relationship with a teenager in his car while on duty doing a drive along. And then there was a pregnancy, and then he got her an abortion. And then she's too scared to talk about it and moves out of state. And then he admits to it all at the same time saying it's without merit. Because if you say it's without merit, it's off the record. And then when people demand a public records request or make a public records request, you don't have to supply them with something that's without merit. Something without merit means it's bullshit, means it's made up, but he admitted to it. How can you admit to it and say it's without merit? That's completely insane. So this is the guy who was in charge of her case, Ms. Kiely Rodni's missing persons case, for the first 15 days. And even when they discovered her body in Nevada County and it became Sheriff Moon's case, the sheriff of Placer County was still heavily involved with her case. Her remains were processed in Placer County because Nevada County doesn't have the facility for it. So they contract with Placer County. So this guy is on the ballot, it's my understanding, in 4 days on November 8th, because he had an early swearing in because the person that was in that position just had to get the hell out of Dodge. Like, come on, something's going on here. Please take a closer look to Zalagi. I'm so scared to say that name. Would be awesome. No one is talking about Lauren anymore. Codswallop, yes, they are another strange community. Bombay Beach at the Salton Sea. And I'm not sure. Let's see. Why on earth did they return the body back to the family when this is not done? Claudia, I'm not sure if you're talking about Ms. Kiely Rodni, but my guess is that you are. And even if you're talking about another case, that could be said about Kiely. Okay, it seems, Sunshine, it seems that we are seeing a lot of incompetence in law enforcement in so many cases. Sometimes it's corruption, other times it's unqualified individuals who don't really know what they're doing. And there's a lot of laziness. I mean, most first responders are not the slightest bit lazy. They can't be to get their jobs done. But remember, they make the same salary whether they go the extra mile or not. So, you know. Okay, I am going to wrap it up. We know that these police officers with Nevada County that were in charge of the crime scene once Adventures with Purpose discovered the car and Ms. Kiely in it, or remains in it. They didn't know it was Ms. Kiely at the time. But we know that those cops destroyed the entire crime scene, abused the corpse, and destroyed all the evidence. So if they did that out of ignorance because they're just too stupid to know, they need to be fired. If they did that intentionally because they didn't want there to be an investigation and they didn't want anybody to know what happened, obviously they need to be fired and put in jail. This is a very, very serious case. They are trying to whitewash it. They are trying to sweep it under the rug. They have the power to do that. They absolutely have the ability to do that. And hopefully they will not be successful. Hopefully, in our democracy, people can stand up to the powers that be. But going back to just the whole mentality of Truckee, it is not really like how I conceptualize an American town or city. It's how I would conceptualize North Korea. Nobody in that town will come forward and say, I knew Kiely. I went to school with her. I knew Kiely. I would go into the place where she worked and buy tea. I knew Kiely, or I didn't know Kiely. I saw her 2 days before she disappeared. Nobody is coming forward. Nobody. And again, shout out to CNY. She's been contacting everybody in that town herself, trying to get somebody to say something about Kiely. And they're literally trying to erase her from the community. Why would you do that? There's a huge cover up, a huge whitewashing. You're not going to have a huge cover up whitewashing for a girl getting tipsy and driving into the water. It's just not going to happen. So, $3 million in bonuses and overtime. I want some. Okay, I'm going to wrap it, you guys. Thank you so much. You know how much I appreciate you. I'll see you again this afternoon at about 1. And have a great day. Oh, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, share if you feel so inclined. And don't forget to drink your water, get your exercise, eat your fruits and veggies and your protein, and just chill out. And TGI Friday. Be nice to people. Make sure people are nice to you. Don't put up with anybody's crap, and call people out on their crap if it's worth your time. If not, just ignore it. So we will see you shortly. Thanks again, everybody. I love ya.